It's a Fact, a program for people who are curious about this fascinating world of ours. This is James Sydney. Stay with me for a moment. Hi there. Matthew Henson was born in Maryland on August 6, 1866. At age 13, he began working on a ship as a cabin boy. The ship's skipper taught Henson to read and write. Lieutenant Robert Peary, the Arctic explorer, met Henson in Washington, D.C. in 1887. Peary was looking for an aide, and Henson left his store clerk job to work as Peary's valet. "I can't get along without him," Peary was later to admit. Henson was to remain Peary's assistant during 8 Arctic expeditions spanning a period of 22 years. Their final expedition in 1909 was crowned with success. Together, they reached the North Pole. For this difficult and treacherous journey, they did not have the benefit of the modern gear and equipment available today. However, Henson brought to the enterprise many valuable skills necessary for the tough Arctic voyage. He was a good map maker. He could speak Inuit, and the Inuit, the native people of the Arctic region, loved that. Peary said he was more of an Eskimo than some of them. They taught Henson many Arctic survival skills. Included among such skills were breaking trails, driving a dog team, building a camp, repairing sleds, and hunting polar bears. On April 6, 1909, when the team reached the North Pole, Henson had been acting as the trailbreaker, traveling ahead of the other members of the expedition. When Henson's compass began to act strangely, he sat down and waited for the rest of the party. 45 minutes later, Peary and the 4 Inuit guides arrived. The guides were pulling Peary on the sled because he could not walk. His feet were frostbitten. Henson was later to say that when Peary arrived, he greeted the commander with, "I think I'm the first man to sit on top of the world." Henson said this statement seemed to make Peary angry. "Oh, he got hopping mad," Henson wrote. "No, he didn't say anything, but I could tell." Henson added that Peary fastened the flag to a staff and planted it firmly on the top of his igloo. They made camp at the site. The next morning, Peary verified their position. They had reached the North Pole. The first person who claimed to have reached the North Pole was Dr. Frederick Cook. He said that he reached it in 1908, a year earlier than the Peary-Henson expedition. Both Cook and Peary insisted that they were first, and a controversy arose. It is, however, widely accepted that Admiral Peary was the first recorded person to arrive at the North Pole. For a long time, little or nothing was heard about Matthew Henson's role in the Peary expedition. Naturally, Matthew Henson was an African American, and the American majority was not ready to hear that the person who actually got to the North Pole first was black. Racial prejudice kept Henson from receiving the recognition he deserved as an Arctic explorer. He was 3 times refused a pension by Congress. He was excluded from the Explorers Club, in which his commander Peary was president. Lastly, Henson was not considered for burial among the heroes at Arlington National Ceremony at the time of his death. After his death in 1955, Matthew Henson was buried in New York City's Woodlawn Cemetery. In 1968, the body of his wife, Lucy Ross Henson, was buried nearby. Recognition of Henson came later. In 1988, the remains of Henson and his wife were taken to the Arlington National Cemetery and interred alongside Peary. The information about Henson on the Arlington Cemetery website says, "On that historic day, it was Henson, an African American, who first reached the pole and planted the American flag." In 1996, the USNS Henson, an oceanographic survey ship, was commissioned in Henson's honor. In the year 2000, the National Geographic Society posthumously awarded Matthew Henson its highest honor, the Hubbard Medal. "The honor is long overdue," said John Fahey, the president of the society. This is James Sydney. Time to go now. Thanks for your company. Let's do it again next time on It's a Fact.